week later, we've had some time now to digest that $2.8 billion antitrust settlement that will result in revenue sharing in college sport. The change is predicted to drastically change collegiate athletics. Our buddy Jim Cavale has helped us kind of guide us through this. I feel like we keep returning to this subject, but good to see you once again. Thanks for coming in. And in plain terms, so what does the settlement mean for the future of college athletes?
Well, it's going to allow college athletes to now get paid via NIL by their schools instead of them having to only be able to find compensation outside of the school. That's the key change from the settlement.
All right, so how will revenue sharing actually work in terms of the model? So who decides how that money is split?
The school decides how it's split, and ultimately most schools are going to give the majority of the money to football players. An average of about 75% of the $20 million that schools are allowed to spend on NIL deals with athletes will go to football players, about $15 million. And then about 15 to 20% will go to men's basketball, and the rest will go to women's basketball athletes, which will create a Title IX lawsuit, which is definitely going to be coming. But that's just one of many lawsuits coming, not to the NCAA with this settlement,
right,
but to schools, coming to Auburn, coming to Alabama, coming to the SEC, are lawsuits from athletes. And Title IX is just the beginning of it. There's a lot of other holes in the House settlement.
Yeah, I know some Title IX lawsuits already filed earlier in the week. All right, so NIL versus revenue sharing. You've been in the middle of this. You know probably more about this than anybody. So how do you see those two working out? Are they going to cannibalize each other? Is that a concern at all?
Well, first of all, we're still lying. The industry is still lying, and that is they're calling performance pay. We all know that these deals are performance deals. A quarterback's going to a school to make $100,000 or $1 million to play quarterback, but we're disguising that as NIL, and now it's coming from the school.
Okay.
So it's an endorsement deal. If the athlete doesn't play well, there's no ability for the coach to hold them accountable to their contract, because their contract's a publicity rights contract. Mm-hmm. And that's a big hole in this settlement. And you can still do deals outside of the school, but those deals have to be true endorsement deals, because collective deals are now going to be regulated by a clearinghouse. However, that clearinghouse regulating fair market value is going to be really interesting to watch, because in America, you're worth what somebody's willing to pay for something, and they're going to try to regulate that from collectives.
Are you concerned it's going to be bumpier before it gets better?
Oh, there's going to be tons of new chaos from the House settlement, and the only solution to create rules for transfers, free agency, compensation, health and safety, all the rules we need in college athletics is collective bargaining. And that's why we created athletes.org 20 months ago. And we are positioned right now to really solve that problem by representing the athletes in a negotiation with the schools to set all those rules. And I just got back from Orlando at the National ADs Conference, and more ADs want to be on the right side of history in fighting for collective bargaining, and that's why we're spending a lot of time with them in private. The ones who don't want to talk about it right now are going to end up on the wrong side of history when we look back at all this.
And you believe that it's time for leadership and athletic directors and presidents. We need some real leadership and folks to step up to kind of clear this out.
We have to have people step up and do the hard thing. And this is not going to be easy, but this is what college athletics needs. This is what the fans deserve. We need rules.
Okay.
And to have rules, we need to change the model. We can't keep calling something that it's not. And these are not NIL deals. These are performance deals. We need to structure them as such. We need to create rules around it. And the only way to do that is collective bargaining.
Your final message for fans of college football. We all love college football, college athletics. What's your message to fans?
How much do you love the NFL? The parity of the NFL. Every weekend, single-digit spreads. All the games are close. The fantasy football aspect of it. We can have that in college. But what does the NFL have? It has a partnership between the players and the league that creates all the rules. We need that in college. And when we get it, college football is only going to be better.
You've helped us for a while, so I have a feeling I'll call you again as this comes forward. Jim, always good to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Jim Cavale, athletes.org. All right.